Amazon just confirm massive layoffs by mistake? That question didn't come from a press release, a breaking news alert, or a dramatic announcement. It came from something quieter, more subtle, and in many ways more revealing. The way Amazon has started talking about itself. This is a company that has learned, over decades, how to communicate big changes without ever using alarming words. Amazon almost never says layoffs unless it has no other option. Instead, it uses language that sounds operational, rational, even boring. And that is exactly why people are paying attention now. The current speculation is not about a single leaked memo or a rogue executive comment. It is about a pattern in how Amazon describes productivity, headcount, management structure, and the future shape of the organization. When those pieces are put together, they raise a serious question. Did Amazon indirectly confirm large workforce reductions without meaning to say it out loud? To understand why this question matters, you need to understand Amazon's playbook. Historically, Amazon does not announce layoffs as a standalone event. It prepares for them through language first. The company talks about efficiency before exits. It talks about simplification before cuts. It talks about focus before consolidation. By the time job reductions are formally acknowledged, the decision has already been socially normalized inside the organization. Recently, Amazon's leadership has been unusually consistent about a few themes. One of them is organizational flattening. Executives have repeatedly emphasized reducing layers, speeding up decision-making, and increasing the ratio of individual contributors to managers. On the surface, this sounds like a productivity initiative, but structurally, it implies fewer roles. You cannot flatten an organization at Amazon's scale without eliminating positions, especially in middle management. Another theme is doing more with fewer resources. This phrase appears often in large companies, but when it shows up repeatedly in a company that already employs over 1 million people, it sends a different signal. Amazon is not a startup trying to stretch limited capital. It is a mature enterprise under pressure to defend margins. When a company like that talks about fewer resources, it usually means fewer people. There is also the renewed emphasis on cost discipline. Amazon has shifted its tone away from aggressive experimentation and toward operational rigor. For years, the company was willing to tolerate inefficiency in exchange for speed and innovation. That trade-off has changed. Now, leadership talks about prioritization, return on investment, and eliminating work that does not directly support core goals. In large organizations, those conversations inevitably lead to role evaluations. So where does the idea of a mistake come in? It comes from how transparent these signals have become. In past cycles, Amazon's messaging was more gradual. This time, the signals are stacked closely together. Flattening management, productivity gains tied to automation and AI, tighter performance standards, slower backfills. These are not accidental phrases, but they may have been more revealing than intended when viewed together. Another factor fueling the question is timing. Amazon has already gone through multiple rounds of layoffs in recent years. The company publicly framed those as necessary corrections after overexpansion. The assumption among many employees and observers was that the worst was over. When Amazon now resumes language associated with restructuring, it naturally raises alarms. People are asking whether this is the start of another wave, and whether Amazon has unintentionally confirmed it by reverting to familiar phrasing. It is also important to look at how Amazon talks about technology. When executives highlight productivity improvements driven by AI and automation, that is not just a technology story, it is a labor story. Automation at Amazon's scale does not exist in isolation. It changes how many people are needed, where they are needed, and what roles still make sense. When leadership emphasizes that these tools are already delivering efficiency gains, it suggests that some work is becoming redundant. This does not mean Amazon is planning a single dramatic round of mass layoffs tomorrow. In fact, Amazon often avoids that approach. The company prefers attrition, role elimination during reorganizations, performance-based exits, and selective cuts spread over time. From the outside, this can look like stability. From the inside, it can feel like continuous pressure. That is why asking whether Amazon confirmed layoffs can be misleading. Amazon rarely confirms anything in one moment. Instead, it creates a narrative environment where the outcome feels logical and expected by the time it happens. In that sense, there may not have been a mistake at all. The messaging may be doing exactly what it is designed to do: prepare stakeholders for a leaner organization without triggering panic. It is also critical to understand that Amazon is not one company in practice, even if it is one company on paper. Different business units operate under different economic realities. Cloud, advertising, logistics, retail, and internal services all face different pressures. Any workforce reductions are likely to be uneven, targeted, and justified internally as strategic alignment rather than cost-cutting. For employees, this ambiguity is the hardest part. No single announcement confirms risk, but the overall tone suggests caution. For investors, the language signals discipline and margin protection. For the public, it creates uncertainty and speculation. And Amazon, as usual, stays technically accurate while emotionally opaque. So did Amazon just confirm massive layoffs by mistake? The honest answer is that Amazon may have confirmed something more subtle but equally important: a phase shift. A shift away from growth through headcount and toward efficiency through structure. At a company of Amazon's size, that shift almost always results in fewer roles, even if the word layoffs is never used. The real takeaway is not whether Amazon slipped up in its wording. The real takeaway is that at companies like Amazon, confirmation does not come from a single sentence. It comes from repeated signals that all point in the same direction. And right now, those signals suggest that Amazon is once again preparing to operate with fewer people, whether it says so directly or not.